The year is 241 BC. The Carthaginian Empire has just signed the devastating Treaty of Lutatius with the Roman Republic, ending the First Punic War. The cost of defeat is staggering. Carthage renounces all claims to Sicily and is forced to pay Rome 3,200 talents of silver. But the nightmare is only beginning. Soon after, the brutal mercenary war erupts within the empire, a bloody uprising of unpaid soldiers that nearly brings Carthage to its knees. It takes until 237 BC for Hamilcar Barca to finally crush the rebellion. However, the Romans are quick to exploit this weakness. When Carthage attempts to retake Corsica from rebellious mercenaries, the Roman Senate opportunistically declares it an act of aggression. They force Carthage to cede both Corsica and Sardinia, demanding an additional 1,200 talents of silver. In the hearts of the Carthaginians, hatred for Rome becomes absolute. Driven by a desire for vengeance, Hamilcar decides to rebuild the glory of his nation. Legend says he leads his young son, Hannibal, to a sacrificial altar and makes him swear a blood oath that he would never, under any circumstances, be a friend to Rome. Alongside his son-in-law, Hasdrubal the Fair, and the young Hannibal, Hamilcar sets sail for the Iberian Peninsula. He seizes control of the vital gold and silver mines in the Sierra Morena Mountains, finally raising the funds needed to pay off the debts to Rome and fund a new, professional army. By 231 BC, Hamilcar has subjugated the lands from Cadiz to Cape Now. This rapid expansion alarms the Greeks of Massalia, who fear for their influence in the region. They inform their Roman allies of the growing Punic power, but for now, the Senate is distracted and does not take the Barcid threat seriously. In 228 BC, Hamilcar dies in battle, reportedly drowning in a river during a retreat. Command passes to Hasdrubal the Fair, who focuses on consolidation. He founds a new capital, Carthage, New Carthage, and in 226 BC signs the Ebro Treaty with Rome, establishing the Ebro River as the boundary between their respective spheres of influence. While Rome is preoccupied with Gallic tribes in the north and wars in Illyria, the Barcids continue to build their strength. 5 years later, Hasdrubal is assassinated, and the 26-year-old Hannibal takes total command. He immediately proves his genius at the Battle of the Tagus River, crushing local tribes and signaling his readiness for a larger conflict. The spark for that conflict comes when Rome places the city of Saguntum under its protectorate. Since the city is located far south of the Ebro River, deep within the Punic sphere, Hannibal considers this a direct violation of their agreements and a clear casus belli. He besieges Saguntum for 8 months, and when it finally falls in 218 BC, a provoked Rome declares war. The Second Punic War has begun. This is exactly what Hannibal has spent his life preparing for. Leaving his brother Hasdrubal to hold Iberia, Hannibal begins his legendary march toward the Alps. He suffers heavy losses, but achieves total strategic surprise. When the Roman consul Publius Scipio stops in Massalia to intercept him at the Ebro, he is stunned to learn that the Punic forces are already crossing the Rhone. Hannibal forces the river crossing, outmaneuvering the Gallic Cavares tribe with a brilliant flanking strike. Supported by local tribes who see him as a liberator, Hannibal begins the treacherous ascent of the Alps. The crossing is a nightmare of freezing weather and hostile mountain tribes. Despite Hannibal's tactical brilliance, the losses are catastrophic. Thousands of men and most of the elephants perish in the snow. Yet, against all odds, the Carthaginians reach the Po Valley in late autumn. The Romans, thinking no army could cross the mountains so late in the season, are caught completely off guard. This is where Hannibal's true tactical mastery begins. He quickly secures decisive victories at the Ticinus and the Trebia. In the spring of 217 BC, Hannibal marches south, executing the largest ambush in military history at the Battle of Lake Trasimene, where he destroys the army of Gaius Flaminius. Despite these victories, Hannibal knows he cannot conquer the city of Rome itself. His plan is different. He intends to break the Roman alliance system by inciting the Italian peoples to revolt. As the Carthaginian army moves into Apulia, the Roman dictator Quintus Fabius Maximus adopts the Fabian strategy, avoiding direct battle to exhaust the invaders. For a year, Hannibal ravages the rich Roman lands, but the Roman people grow impatient. In the spring of 216 BC, after the Carthaginians capture the vital supply depot at Cannae, the Romans finally decide to crush him. Led by consuls Varro and Paulus, they field a massive force. The resulting battle is a slaughter. Rome loses around 70,000 men, including Consul Paulus, dozens of high-ranking officials, and 80 senators. Southern Italy begins to fracture, with major cities like Capua and Tarentum siding with Hannibal. But despite controlling much of southern Italia, Hannibal lacks consistent support. He receives reinforcements only once, in 215 BC. First, the Roman resistance proves far more resilient than expected. They refuse to even negotiate for peace. Second, a hostile faction back in Carthage, jealous of the Barcids, refuses to send the necessary aid. Hannibal turns to diplomacy, forming an alliance with Syracuse and Philip V of Macedon. But Rome reacts swiftly. By 212 BC, they sack Syracuse and maintain control of Sicily, while a rebellion in Sardinia is quickly suppressed. While Hannibal is forced into a defensive struggle in Italia, the tide turns in Iberia. Since 218 BC, Hannibal's brother, Hasdrubal, has been resisting Roman advances, but he is unable to repeat the march over the Alps to support his brother. In 212 BC, the Romans retake Saguntum, though they suffer a massive setback a year later at the Battle of the Upper Baetis, where Publius Cornelius Scipio is killed. In 210 BC, a new commander arrives, Scipio Africanus. Scipio is a visionary. He captures New Carthage and defeats Hasdrubal at the Battle of Baecula. As Iberia slips away, Hasdrubal makes a desperate dash for the Alps to link up with Hannibal. If the two brothers unite, Rome is finished. But in 207 BC, the Romans intercept him at the Battle of the Metaurus. Hasdrubal is killed, his army destroyed, and his severed head is thrown into Hannibal's camp, a grim signal that the war in Italy is effectively over. In 205 BC, Publius Scipio was given command of the legions in Sicily and allowed to enroll volunteers for his plan to end the war by an invasion of Africa. After landing in 204 BC, he was joined by Massinissa and a force of Numidian cavalry. Scipio, together with Massinissa, defeated the Numidian king Syphax. Scipio led a successful campaign that forced the Carthaginians to negotiate peace. The Romans did not agree because Hannibal was still in Italia. The great commander was called back to Carthage. The Carthaginians put their faith in Hannibal, who led a new army in the last battle of the war. Hannibal met Scipio at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. The war elephants assigned to Hannibal ran away, causing havoc among the Carthaginian army. Scipio took advantage of this, outclassing his rival. The new peace treaty dictated by Rome stripped Carthage of all its overseas territories and some of its African ones. An indemnity of 10,000 talents of silver was to be paid over 50 years. Carthage was forbidden to possess war elephants, and its fleet was restricted to 10 warships. It was prohibited from waging war outside Africa, and in Africa only with Rome's permission. Hannibal was elected suffete of the Carthaginian state. Despite his efforts, the state's power was never restored, and the Roman Republic became the hegemon in the Mediterranean. Thanks for watching. Please share your thoughts in the comments so I can continue to improve. I'll be starting work on the next chapter soon, so feel free to leave your suggestions below.